All right, I want to talk to y'all while I'm setting up the music on this TV here. My channel's dead, dead as hell. So why do I still care? That's the question I was asking myself a couple days ago. When I first started making videos on this channel, I made them for fun, and it was a great time. And I made videos that I enjoyed making, and I enjoyed interacting with people in the comments. There's people I met on YouTube who I still talk to this day. It was nice. And then, I kept making videos. I got a couple $100 from YouTube, and then all of a sudden, especially like when I was young, I made these videos like as a child. A couple $100 is a lot, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I'm making money from this, I gotta do everything right. I gotta be optimal. I gotta make good videos. I gotta get my audience retention rate up. I gotta get my watch time up. I gotta get good thumbnails. All this junk. And it just immediately sucked the fun out of everything. I went from making videos because I had something to show people to then making videos for the purpose of making a video. And, it wasn't fun. So now, I'm just going to screw around and film it. And if it sucks, I don't care. I don't care if anyone watches this. I don't care if it does terribly. Who cares? I'm making it for myself and no one else. So that's where we're at. If it's not entertaining, it might not be entertaining. What I'm doing in this shed is building a terrarium. Surprise, surprise on this channel. But I'm basically trying to combine fine furniture making with terrarium building. I've got a pretty ambitious idea for a walnut kind of Japanese lamp inspired terrarium with ceramic background, and I've got a whole bunch of cool ideas that I'm going to shove into this thing. This is part one of who knows how many of me basically screwing around in the shed and learning how to woodwork with the purpose of making a cool terrarium. I imagine most of the viewing angle that y'all are seeing is going to be coming from right there, because I'm filming on an elderly, probably like 2015 iPad, and if it is not constantly suckling on the charging cord, it will die. You can see my setup right here. There's the music station. There's the phone station to control the music. But you guys will live in this corner for the time being. I ordered a little external hard drive for my phone so I can upload or offload a ton of videos and stuff so I can free up space on the phone. And then I can give you multiple angles of all the action. But right now you live right there. So, have fun. The latest update is this little router table, if you want to call it that. Oh, we're being like cinematic right now? Crazy. It's just a piece of melamine with a hole in it. Apparently, auto adjust on the lighting here is not going to work. It's just a piece of melamine with a hole in it. It accepts the base to my router right there. The other part of the router is right there. It slots into there, and I'll be able to adjust it like I was going to adjust the depth of cut if it was still being used as like a trim router. I've got to put a fence on it. The fence down there, you can see I'm making, it's clamped. And I think I'm going to have to straighten that out on the table saw. We'll see. I've got to reattach the fence to the other side of my sled. These videos are probably a little out of order because I'm filming, like I said, not for the purpose of making a video, just because I want to make something. So bear with me here. I'm sure it'll get better as I get back in the groove of things. But like I said, it's not the main goal here. It's interesting. I think my first upload was something like 7 years ago. I think I was in like 8th grade, and now I'm a few years out of college. So, the lifespan of my channel, which, if you want to call it that, it's sporadic. The lifespan of my channel is longer than I honestly really expected it to be. I haven't uploaded in like 3 years, and then before that I think it was another 3 years prior to that. And, obviously that's not the reason I'm getting 1 view a day. I'm obviously shadow banned or something. But, I was just thinking about it, and I really enjoyed talking to people. I enjoyed having a good time connecting with some variety of community on YouTube. You can see I've got a little bit of at that bend. It's like concave, pushing in this way. I gotta find out how to flatten that. I don't think there's any real like overarching point to what I'm saying here about connecting with people on YouTube, except that, you know, I had something I enjoyed genuinely just for the love of doing it, and then I tried to turn that into, you know, I tried to commodify it, and surprise, ended up not having the passion for it anymore. So, I don't know, here's to getting back to my roots. I'm making this project for myself, and if you want to see, you can see. If not, such is life. I gotta figure out how to flatten this. I have zero idea how I'm gonna do that. I'm kind of daunted, no lie. It's too tall to fit in my table saw. I don't have a planer. I don't have a wide belt sander. I don't know, I'll figure it out. I have tried to start a time lapse of me working on flattening out that router table fence like 3 times now, but I keep running into things that I wanted to tell y'all. Basically, an expose for this, not expose, I don't know, whatever, description for what I'm doing here. I wanted to make a walnut Japanese lamp inspired cabinet, basically, to put a terrarium in, except it was all going to be one piece. I can't afford walnut, so I bought a walnut table off Facebook Marketplace that someone was giving away. Not really giving away, I bought it. So I'm disassembling the table, then using the pieces to make what I want. Unfortunately, I thought it was like a walnut glued up panel tabletop. It turns out it's veneered MDF. It's walnut veneer. It looks nice. I'm still going to use it, but only the table skirt and the legs are made of solid walnut. So I have enough to go on here, but you know, it's a mishmash. It's an interesting time. If you enjoy YouTube channels such as like Blacktail Studio, but can't relate because you're poor and don't have a videographer or time to dedicate to making nice videos, or a workshop full of nice tools, or the time and energy and budget to do everything he does, or the sponsorships, or the nice selection of wood, or the access to nice shops, then you're gonna love what I've got going on here. Alright, here's the solution I've come up with. It could be dumb. We'll find out. This is kind of the name of the game. I'm just trying things and see if they work. You see that? I got this nice big piece of like really high quality plywood I found on the side of the road by someone's house who was doing a reno. And it is long enough I could just cut a strip off of that. And if this doesn't work, that's what I'm going to do. But I would like to salvage this wood because I'm scrounging on scraps here. So what I've done is I've bent it the opposite direction with a clamp back there and a clamp right there. And then I've got this little like spacer right here as the fulcrum for pulling this down. So it is, you know, relatively straight right now. I have some fine adjustment to do. And then what I think I'll do is I will screw another board to the back and see if that holds it straight. This could be dumb, but like it's plywood, so it shouldn't warp too much if I glue and screw another piece of plywood to the back, right? Woodworkers, comment if you know better. Yeah, I'm gonna see if that works. It's bending more in an even bow than in the specific spot that it's warped. So I'm gonna add another clamp towards the middle so it bends more in the kind of off-center side that I want it to. Alright, it is doing exactly what I wanted it to. Who didn't graduate high school now? I actually graduated college, but I feel like if I'm ever successful, it won't be as cool of a story because I got a good education. I won't be able to grift people on YouTube into buying my course. So what it was doing, it was bent kind of like this. You see where one side is bent and the other is relatively straight. So I put a little block right here and clamped it on both sides, and it was just bowing up evenly, which isn't what I wanted to fix it. If we're being realistic, it was bowing up evenly. So I put another clamp here, and now it's doing this in the opposite of what it was doing before. So we'll see. I'm gonna take it off. Maybe that actually just helped, you know, take out any tension as is, but otherwise I'll clamp it and nail something on there, screw something on there. My friend is sending me AI generated minion versions of us in different time periods of our life. It's weirdly wholesome. the backstory on this terrarium, any place I've ever worked, I've weaseled my way into making a terrarium for money. My very first job, back when I was still making YouTube videos, it was a tropical plant shop, and I made a couple display terrariums for the business. I worked doing aquaponics work in college, ended up making like a little pond display thing for that. And now I am building this terrarium for, I'm going to call them a client to trick myself into feeling more professional. It's someone I know, and they are paying me to make this terrarium. It's I don't know, like, you know, when you keep landing on things like this, maybe it's a sign that it's your passion. I don't know. I keep ending up making terrariums without like trying hard to do it and getting compensated for it. I don't know. Who knows, man? I don't know how to find my passion in life. I'm still trying to find. I'm just trying random things until hopefully one of them sticks, and I'm like, oh, that's the thing. Who knows where this is gonna end up? I don't know. Y'all are like me. You understand. Alright, I put a piece of wood on that was bowed in the other direction. I think it was from the same cut, so like the exact same bow, but reversed. Now it's half the thickness because I laminated two together to make the original bowed piece. And I clamped it down, bent it, and then screwed it on. We'll see if it did anything. Nope. Still bent. I think I'm wasting my time. I'm just going to cut a piece off of that. I think it's like 3/4 inch ply. Really nice stuff that I found. Yeah, this might be a loss. Maybe I could use it for something later, but I just don't think I'm experienced enough to know the right way to bend this right now. I'm sure if you like steamed it or something, like people do with, you know, actual bent pieces of wood that are supposed to be bent, you could, but I don't know. I'm chalking this up as a loss and a waste of my time to keep fooling with right now. So what I've got instead is, if this is this one size, I'll use this. Nice, yeah. This stuff, I don't know exactly what it is. I want to like act like I know what I'm talking about and call it like Baltic birch. You know, I feel like everyone I see uses nice Baltic birch plywood. But it's straight. I'm gonna use it. I'm slightly allergic to it though. I don't know how that happens. I didn't know I could be allergic to wood. But whenever I cut it, I get sniffly. So look forward to a lot of, you know, that kind of action. All right, I'm going with a 3-inch fence. Don't know if that's ideal. I'm flying by the seat of my pants here, guys. Don't take advice from me. Don't listen to me about anything at all. I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I realized a tangential thought that relates to me not making videos on YouTube anymore. So after I stopped uploading regularly, I got a lot more into fitness. I was a wrestler in high school and a little bit in college. You have to keep your weight down for that to stay in your weight class. So, you know, I was always a real skinny guy. After that, I started hitting the gym a lot more, got in control of, you know, like diet and all that. Got a lot stronger, a lot more muscle on me, and I got really into fitness. And then I saw these people saying like, oh, you know, you hate your 9-to-5, you can teach people how to get fit and make much money. And me hating a 9-to-5 and working for anybody was like, oh my gosh, that's what I'm going to do with my life. I'm going to be a fitness coach. So then I got on Instagram, that godforsaken app. And then just like with YouTube, tried to commodify something that I enjoyed, and then got confused when I started hating making videos, started hating like trying to put on this like air of, I don't know, authority about myself when I'm just a person. So I started just liking it less, and the exact same thing happened. So I stopped uploading on there and never made my millions. But I don't know, it's a parallel story that, now that it's happened twice, I should probably learn from by now. So, you know, if you ever see me trying to get slick with these videos, I'm falling off. Anyway, I'm about to make this cut. Trying to keep my ears, so I got earplugs in, got the glasses, you know, the whole shebang. This is kind of a thin cut for me, not for like people who know what they're doing, but for me. So I've got this little like depressor thing I made, and I think that's going to help me keep my hands out of the way of this saw blade. So yeah, here we go. It is square. Use the combo square. Again, high recommendation on that. But yeah. You probably could not hear a single little thing while I was doing all that. But I was saying my saw blade doesn't come up all the way, and my crosscut sled, which I'm using for rip cut, but, well, no, it's still crosscut, but it's longer than it is. You know what I'm saying? It's half-inch plywood, and I don't know if I need to, like, de-gum the threads down there up under the blade, but I can't really raise the blade up that high. So on top of the half-inch ply sled, and then this 3/4-inch ply, it cuts almost all the way through, but I do have to flip it over and make another pass, which is kind of annoying, as is being allergic to wood. Alright, I would call this a success. It is square as square can be, and very straight. So, yeah, I'm going to turn this into the fence. I'm going to make a fence that's only attached on one side, and then it will pivot around this point. And that's because it's for a router table, not a saw. Of course, the bit on the router is round. It doesn't really matter if your blade is square with, or your fence is square with anything. It just has to be able to be finely adjusted as far as distance from the bit goes. So I'm gonna do that now. Come to think of it, maybe I should have made this a little thicker if I want to have any kind of huge bit in there, but I've got the other side of this piece that this came from, so if I need to, I can easily make another. Whoa, would you look at that? New perspective. It's like your eyes have been opened for the first time. That's where it's gonna go. I'll maybe see, yeah, this looks like absolute dog crap. You can't see anything going on here. Let me try to fix the lighting. Just for you, just for your enjoyment. There we go, much better. Do your eyes feel better? They should. It takes me back, man. When I first started making YouTube videos, I filmed with an iPad, probably same year as this one. Yeah. Okay, so I have to put a screw in this side, basically, that's it. And then I'm going to, I should probably cut the recess for the bit to go in before I do that. That would be smart. That would be smart. That'd be a smart person thing to do. Yeah, I'm gonna do that first. I'm also debating whether I should put a pin or actually screw it in. I feel like a pin, yeah, I could like easily attach and detach, but I don't have any dowels, and I've never made a dowel before, so probably screw. I'm haunted by a scene from The Big Bang Theory, out of all things. Whenever I say I'm debating, I think of Big Bang Theory, someone's like, oh, debate is actually between two people. You can't debate between yourself. Whatever. Okay, putting you on time-lapse again while I figure this out. Right now I'm countersinking the hole that I'm going to put this screw in, which I just realized I don't need to do because the screw's coming up from the bottom, so that was just a waste of time and a marring of the surface here. But it's going to be covered up, so I guess at the end of the day it doesn't matter. Maybe I'm allergic to the glue in the plywood, not the wood. Who knows? But yeah, I'm going to shove a screw up through the bottom here. It's going to go into this so this can pivot on that point. I got, can I focus? Oh, wow, okay, so it can focus. I got all of these tools, for the most part, from a retiring carpenter that my dad knows, so that's awesome. He gave me, like, three routers, a plunge router, a fixed base low trim router, multiple electric sanders, a jigsaw, this bench grinder that has proven to be invaluable. I did not think I would need a bench grinder, but it has helped me so much. He gave me a vise, he gave me a bunch of hand planes, a bunch of clamps, a bunch of books on woodworking. So shout out Sam. You know, I'll probably show Sam these videos if this doesn't turn out in a disaster, as a, you know, testament that his tools have gone to good use. So, hello Sam. Thank you so much for the tools. I appreciate them immensely. The table saw, my dad, and I think Sam might have been with him, I don't know. My dad saw at a thrift shop and asked me if I wanted to get it, and I was like, yes. So I don't think it was more than like 60 bucks. It might have even been as low as 30. But yeah, fully working table saw. So that's awesome. Yeah. The walnut I got off Facebook Marketplace, the plywood I got off the side of the road, and from other projects I've done in the past. So we're really working on a budget here. This video is probably getting long. I'm gonna put you on time lapse and probably shut up until I have something actually meaningful to say. That brings me back. Why am I trying to say meaningful things to the camera? I'm just making a video about what I'm doing. Constant struggle here, y'all. Constant struggle. We're being authentic. The keen-eyed amongst you might notice, you remember I said it would probably be a smart idea to cut the recess in the fence before attaching it? Well, I didn't do that. I put the router in, and I'm just gonna run the blade through the fence. So, just let the router do the work. I mean, it's gonna be as close to zero clearance to the bit as I can get, right? I feel like it's a smart idea. I don't see anything wrong with this. So, yeah, I'm gonna try it. I read in the comments somewhere that if you're on the fence about wearing ear protection, if you're using a router, you really should use it, because apparently the higher RPMs and higher frequency noise is especially bad for your ears. So, I don't know. I'm putting in ear protection, eye protection. Went surprisingly well. I had a little bit of tear out at the back, which I should have expected. Should have put some like tape over that or something. But yeah, let me check this, or let me show you this. Check this out. Okay, I had a little bit of tear out on the back, which I should have expected. Look at that. It does need to be cleaned up a little bit. It catches sometimes, but I mean, it's not bad. Not bad. I went really, really slow, but like I said, there is some tear out on the back. So I'll clean it up with some high grit sandpaper, and then it'll be good. One of the most useful things that I've found so far, by far, has been a painter stick with aggressive sandpaper glued onto it with like a spray adhesive. Definitely spray that stuff outside, it's really bad for you. But I learned this from another guy who was helping me build a Murphy bed. That was the first real actual project I ever did, but I never tried to make it nice. I'm trying to make this terrarium really nice. But this has been invaluable. If you have an old man in your life who does woodworking, you should 100% go ask them for advice. They had to learn things, you know, the actual way, through trial and error, without YouTube and all this other junk we have. Invaluable advice. Really simple stuff. Yeah. I cleaned it up. It's still catching a little bit, so I'm going to run it through the router again and just put like a little pressure on it so any high spots actually get chewed up by the teeth. Or blades, I don't know what you call it on a router bit. In a stroke of astounding lack of foresight, I made this whole pivoting fence here, and didn't leave anywhere to clamp it. So I've got this little guy right here tensioned down with one screw, and it pivots with it, and I don't need to move it much further than this for what I'm doing right now. And this keeps it really locked in, to be honest, and the screw is like partially unscrewed right now, and it's still keeping some tension on it. So I can lock it in, screw this down, it keeps it in one spot, but I do need to find probably a better workaround in the future. Alright, this is what I've been doing. I sharpened the hell out of that chisel over there, and I'm trying to get these grooves square. So that's one I've done. I routed them out before I built the router table. They turned out fine. It's 1 inch from the base here, 7.5 millimeters from there, and then it will accept a 18 millimeter panel. I'll show you one that's not done yet. So this is what they look like before the router, or before the chisel. So you can see a lot of work to be done on that to make it square and then connect the two, and then there's going to be grooves running lengthwise to accept those 18 millimeter panels. But yeah, things are going well. Who would have thought having a really sharp tool helps a lot? So yeah, sharpen your chisels. Alright, when I was making these earlier, initially routing these grooves, you can see there's like a notch in there. That's like a solid 3 millimeters into the wood, and this is going to be facing the inside. It's going to be underneath the table, or the base of this thing, so you're really only going to see this. However, that's unacceptable to me. I need to figure out a way to patch that. I think it's actually not going to be too hard though. I have been squaring off these corners with the chisel for the past, I want to say, maybe like 2 hours straight now. I'm on the last one. That divot, I've made a little piece of wood that for the most part accepts the shape of that hole, and then I've got it clamped right now. It's gluing up with wood glue and sawdust mixed together from these same pieces of wood, so I think it's gonna look good. I'll show you the finished mistake fix, whatever you want to call it. I want to show everything in these videos. I want to, be as just real as possible. And in the vein of that, I don't know if you've ever chiseled wood for hours straight, listening to good music, just chilling, but boy, that is meditative. I've been thinking a lot. I think I'm gonna age gracefully. I think I'm gonna age well. Not like physically, but like mentally. I feel like the more I care less about the chattering of other people around me, generally the better my life is, like in most aspects. And I feel like the more I age, the more I have gotten more towards that, of just realizing like, hey, shoot, man, this is my life. Only got one of these things. I'm gonna go kaput sooner or later. It seems pretty stupid to be living it for the thoughts and feelings of other people, as long as I'm being, a moral person. So yeah, I look forward to the future. I feel like it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good, solid time. To give you an idea of the process, I'm taking the rough, rounded, straight from the router edge here, then I'm outlining it with my little utility knife, just to get a guide in the grain, so to speak, for the chisel, and then I'm chiseling out these corners and then these, uneven bits. So just rounding it, or squaring it off with the little score lines, and then taking the chisel to it, and yeah, it's a good time. This one's pretty boogered up. You see like a divot there. That was from the router, just like the other one when I was doing these without knowing as much. And then I accidentally rested the chisel on this edge and kind of bent it in a little bit, you can see. So I've got some fixing to do on those. I'm probably going to try to make some more of that wood filler with the same dust from these pieces of wood, so it'll match. But yeah, this one is looking cleaner already. This one's just kind of gross. it is also possible that I'll age poorly. I feel like I know some people who in their old age are a lot less, I don't know, for lack of a better word, cool than they were when they're younger. Not necessarily saying like responsibility wise, I'm talking about like attitude towards other people, you know? Like, some people get pretty crotchety when they're old. But I don't think they ever realize they're getting that way. And if they are, for some reason it doesn't seem like, and if they do realize, it doesn't seem like they care. Just like few. I'm not saying everyone's like that when they get old. There's plenty of awesome old people. But I gotta figure out how to make sure I'm not one of the ones that just gets sour as they age. You know? I want to keep some modicum of joy, I don't know, interest in the world, interest in novelty. I don't want to settle too much into routine. I think routine is what blends time together and makes it feel like a week has passed in a day and a month has passed in a week. If you settle into a routine, you have nothing by which to really differentiate different stages of your time or your life or your day or your years or whatnot. I try to do a lot of varied things with my time, partially just because, you know, I want to know what's out there, I want to know what I like, and I want to know what experiences I've yet to have that might be interesting or a lifelong passion, but also because I want to be able to punctuate mentally different time periods of my life so that I don't feel like I haven't had a life, you know? There have been times in my life where I didn't do really anything, like at all. Partially by choice, partially not, but can't really remember those times. Like, I know what I was doing if I think about it, but as far as the actual memories go, there's nothing really there. So, you know, might as well have been gone for that period of time. And I'm young. I'm 24. So it's like weird in a way to say this, but I do feel pretty strongly aware that my time is limited, despite being young. And when there's a limit on something, it's more valuable, you know? So I feel like if I didn't realize I was walking towards the end, I would probably have less of a sense of urgency about myself and about, you know, trying to make sure I actually remember time periods in my life. But since I do feel like the train could pull in at any moment, I think I really, really, really want to maximize the amount of life I've lived in the time that I have. So, bit of a rant, but like I said, this video is not for you, it's for me. Happy if you watch, though. It's pretty nice. I think it keeps me, I guess, less tied to outside opinion if I'm able to put myself out here like I'm doing. Figured I'd show you the plans over here while I'm at it. Plans in a loose term. Most of these just sheets of brainstorming. I was really trying to figure out here what I was going to use, or how all the different like dados and the different slots were going to fit together to have everything except each piece. Most of this isn't going to make sense because I haven't shown you enough to like have reference. This is the front. There's going to be a vent channel there, as well as a channel for the glass right there for the front glass. I was working out a lot of relationships between pieces here, trying to figure out how the corner slots of the bottom piece would fit into the posts that are going to make up the corners. I was working with vent ideas there, trying to figure out again the dimensions for the like cut out in a corner. I ended up not doing that. Yeah, just a lot of brainstorming. This was earlier on in the process. I was trying to figure out how, with a 33mm wide piece of wood, I can fit a track for glass as well as a vent as well as structural components to keep it, I guess, elevated. This is leading into some of the Kumiko designs I'm going to put in there to cover the front vent. Just looking at the back of it here as well. This was again earlier, I was seeing how much wood I had. This is that Kumiko design I'm going to put in on the front. This top view, how I'm thinking I'm going to put the light, just kind of cut list. Yeah, here we go. I was brainstorming a lot of the Kumiko. I ended up going with this idea right there. It's probably going to get stretched or smushed in the final look compared to that. But yeah, I was just learning about Kumiko. This is how I'm ironing out the ideas for the slots. This was what was for work or something. This is the initial drawing of how I kind of want the layout to look like from the front. As far as plant choices go, I wanted to lean more on the natural look and less like gaudy bright reds and stuff. The person I'm making this for really wanted just a lot of different textures. So got a Vreesia Earthodaclylon, probably some little Asplenium ferns, some Margravia, some Philodendron, trying to have a lot of little vining plants, probably some Marginella, some fern down here, and then I think I was, Micans, other Philodendron stuff in the back, but just a variety. So fern-shaped leaves, you know, your bromeliads, your Philodendrons, Margravias, just trying to go for a bunch of different shapes. So yeah, that's, I think that's the last of, yeah, no, oh, there's more, okay. Oh yeah, this was like really early on. I was trying to figure out a door hinging mechanism. Thank goodness I abandoned trying to make hinge doors. That would have been a pain. And it looks less clean than the idea I've got now. And what's this? This was, this was probably like day one, trying to figure out door. I'm so glad I didn't do that. Looking at different designs here. This is kind of more 3D look on a small scale. That same design I was showing you earlier. You can see that Vreesia Earthodaclylon with that black base. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for this thing. It's gonna be fun. All right, here's the fix on that little notch that was taken out. Looks better from some lights than others. You can see it reflects a little bit differently there. You can really see it in that highlight. For the most part, I think it looks pretty decent. I'm thinking about redoing it. I'm not sure, but that is what it looks like for now. All right, so you have seen me working on these little notches right there, squaring those off. Next, what you haven't seen is these grooves that are going to be going lengthwise. This is partially done. I'm widening it out a little bit. It needs to be 7.5 millimeters on this side and 7.5 on this side. Obviously that's not centered yet. I don't know how well you can see this atrocious lighting. But this will be going all the way down. It needs to be an 18 millimeter gap. It's a stop data on both ends to accept the panels that are going to make up the side walls of this terrarium. So what I've been doing with these is I've been using this groove that goes around the corner that you've already seen as a spot for me to plunge it into my router. This is obviously just done on a fixed base router attached to a sheet of melamine, so it's not like I've got a way to raise the bit up into the wood, but I have this gap already and I've got a line marked on my fence there, so I can take the piece, slowly lower it in like that, and then run the length of it in the router table so that I get that nice groove. And I've got a stop marked here and a stop marked on the table so I know when to arrest it, and that leaves me a few millimeters of chiseling to do at the end. So this is the first one and I've only done half of it so far. So next is for me to flip it around and do the other half. And I've got to make another mark on the table so I know when to stop it so the bit doesn't go through more than, what is this, about 38, 40-ish millimeters from the end. And yeah, that's the process. I can never find my pencil. No matter what I do, I put a huge piece of orange duct tape on it so that it's easier to see. Wow. Literally, I lose this thing probably every 5 minutes. It is astounding how good I am at losing things. Alright, well, this is what I get for having so much blind faith in my little jerry-rigged fence here. Was working wonderfully until the friction stop I had at the end slipped. And now I've got this horribly boogered up groove. You can see right there, disgusting. It doesn't go full thickness on this side that it really gouged out, but it really ate into the side that was already cleanly finished. So you can see it's just bad. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is inlay a chunk of walnut from other portions of this table that I have that are still, good solid walnut. And then that way it should match fine. I should be able to just inlay that and glue it and then reroute the groove down this. But that's pretty tragic. I'm gonna have to build a new clamping mechanism for this fence because I can't trust that anymore. That screwed up a cut that was going perfectly. I mean, let's see, right here, 7.5 millimeters. 7.5 millimeters. 7.5 millimeters. Obviously not 7.5 millimeters. So yeah, that's next. This is one problem after the other. It's fun though. It's fun, I swear. It looks like problems, but it's fun. So I need a piece of wood, a little rectangular piece of wood that is a little bit more than 6 millimeters thick, and then I need it to be about 50 millimeters long by 24 millimeters wide. So now to get to that, I feel like a machinist. I've never machined metal at all, but I feel like that's how I'm thinking about this project. I like watching a lot of woodworking, and I like watching a lot of blacksmithing and machining on YouTube. Like Alex Steele, huge fan of that channel. Shout out, Alec, if for some reason you're ever watching this, your channel is awesome. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to inlay a matching piece of walnut from this side of the skirt of the table, and then it should look pretty darn clean. The full thickness of this is 33 millimeters, but I'm going low on that width dimension because I want to save as much of that original edge as possible, just in case the walnut that I'm using for the skirt of the table doesn't 100% match. It should match. I don't see why it wouldn't, unless the person who originally made this table used wood from different trees to make it. They could have just got planks from different trees. Who knows? Regardless, I'm going to try to preserve as much of that original edge as possible. So here's what I'm going to do. I was going to use the plunge router here to just eat that material out, and that's still what I'm going to do. However, putting the plunge router here, my lighting situation here is atrocious. It's very one directional. So this is a terrible shadow. So I needed to prop my phone up here. I had nothing to prop my phone up, so I built this little stand for my phone to sit right here. Then I had nothing to film this with because I wanted to film this angle and I don't know where any tripod is. So then I built the thing that you're standing on. It's like this adjustable iPad stand because I'm filming this with an iPad. But now I can get phone light in here and I can film it for you guys to see. So I think I should be good. Should be good to go. Yeah, we'll see. I've got to really make sure I don't auger out too much of this with this router here because I want to save, like I said, as much of that regular original edge as possible. All right, I've got a pretty good square corner on all these. I'm going to start working on that wood to inlay into it. The face, surface you can see here, obviously it's not very smooth. I'm not too worried about that. That's all going to be covered by the inlay. The area where the dado is going to go in there is, or slot, or not, slot. I think there's different terminology. That's still fresh, that's still clean, and it's going to get cleaned up on the edges by the router if there's any little pieces sticking over. So yeah, I'm gonna start working on the little, I guess like tile of walnut from the skirt of the table that's gonna go in there. All right, so I was going to make a little tile out of this face of this piece of the skirt. However, I realized that this green on the side matches a whole lot more closely with this side of what once was the table leg. So I'm actually going to cut a slice off of here. Now the only problem with that is this is barely thicker than the width of this leg here, so I won't have a whole lot to work with in terms of rough shaping. I'm going to have to be pretty good with it on the initial, I guess, setting. I'm going to put a bevel on it so it sits in better, but I got to be careful about that because this is a good bit less stock than I wanted. All right, I think that went pretty well. I just, maybe I'm overconfident in this, I don't know, but it just seems like it's gonna work well. It looks right. It looks like what I've seen other people do. I'm not that nervous, actually. I was pretty nervous for the first one, and maybe my nervousness was well-founded there, because I do think it probably could have turned out a little better. I'm still trying to figure out if I want to change it or not. Actually, well, I've got it. Where is it? It's one of these around here. It'd be good if I couldn't find out which one it was. It'd be pretty nice and hidden. While I've got it, I'm going to water pop it, or not water pop it, you know, whatever. Expose the grain with water, and then from there, I should be able to see if it's going to blend in a little better, I think. Unless, is it the one I just did? Is it the same one? I think I might have screwed up the same one. Maybe, hang on, I've got it drying back here. No? Did I do that good of a job that I can't see it? That'd be pretty cool, but I don't think I did. Oh, okay. Okay, that's good news. It tricked me. In certain lights, it looks really good. In other lights, you can really see the seam there between the piece I glued in and the rest of it. Wetting it definitely makes it a little more obvious. I may have to redo that. I really don't want to, but I think I will. God, I don't want to. Okay, I'm trying to make a very solid piece here, so I can't live with that. This is the mistake right there. It just doesn't match as well as I'd like. You can see it better in some lights, and you could probably see it better if the camera I was using wasn't on an ancient iPad, but like especially there in that light you can see that seam right there. Yeah, no, not gonna fly. All right, another inlay. We're going back on the router table. I'm just gonna gouge out the inlay that I put in there a couple days ago, and instead of trying to match the square or the round gouge left by the router, instead I'm going to carve the gouge square, and I think that'll be a good bit easier because that's what I did with that one and it was not terrible. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to do a better job of picking the wood. Actually, hang on, these are sanded differently. These are sanded pretty differently. Let me sand them to the same grit and then see if it's that much of a difference. Ooh, even worse. Okay, yeah, we're gouging. All right. The groove is regouged in there. Now to square it, and then make a little square piece to fill that, and then we're going to be back in business, and I can start actually making the long slots on these legs so that I can put some panels in there. Yeah, okay, cool. So, I don't know if I've talked about the order of operations I'm trying to go with here, but I am taking all the legs, slotting them with slots so they can accept pieces of the walnut laminated board I have over there. From there, I'll cut that into panels, slot them in, and then that will be the majority of the real actual cabinet assembly, besides some top framing pieces and then the front vent. The front vent's probably actually going to take a while. I don't know what episode that's going to get in, and I don't know how many episodes I'm breaking this up into. I'm probably going to try to do some of that tonight, just so I can have a baseline first video in this project. But yeah, I'm itching to be done with cutting all the grooves in these legs. It's taken a long time and a lot of learning for me. Yeah, thanks. Alright, so I've recut the groove. I'm going to clamp this down, do a bunch of chiseling. Unfortunately, well, maybe not unfortunately, probably for the best. I just agreed to run a half marathon, so now I've got to do that. Yeah, clamping this down, regouging this, and then good to go.